So as we come to the end of 2018, it's a time both to reflect and to look forward. I think the work that the Institute's been doing over this past year has never been more relevant. And many of the things that we're talking about, many of the solutions we're proposing, I think are gaining greater and greater traction for very good reasons. First, the populism that we've seen knock over governments, change countries right round the world has not abated at all. On the contrary, if anything, the challenge has grown, as we can see indeed with the continuing debacle of Brexit. But what is interesting is that there is a sense now that the centre ground of politics, particularly the progressive centre ground, has got to be putting forward solutions that meet people's concerns, because this is the only way ultimately of undermining the populism, showing that rather than riding the anger, we can provide the answers. Therefore, over the past year, the Institute's been producing the analysis of populism, showing exactly its nature, its spread, and what it's doing or not doing in government, but also putting forward solutions, particularly how do modern governments tackle the coming technological revolution, which is going to have a transformative effect on the world. How do they handle it? How do they access its advantages, deal with its difficulties? And also, how do we handle and tackle difficult issues like immigration, getting the right immigration system in place so that people realize there are controls even at the same time as we celebrate the benefits of immigration. Secondly, extremism has continued, I'm afraid, to be a scourge in many parts of the world. In September, we produced the first Global Extremism Monitor, a comprehensive global survey of terrorism and extremism, where it's happening. And we also started to work on some of the solutions, not just our own programs of education and promoting cultural coexistence, but showing how governments can make a difference in tackling not just the extremism, but as important, the underlying ideology that's driving it. Thirdly, governance has continued to be a big theme. We're delighted to say now the Institute's working in 14 different countries in Africa and also countries outside of it. It continues to be our view that the quality of government, not just its transparency and honesty, but also its efficacy, its ability to deliver for its people, continues to be a top priority for change in the world. And so we're working with those African governments and others outside of Africa to see how we help those governments prioritize, get the right policies in place, and deliver for their people, because that is the thing that's going to make the single biggest difference to the lives of their people. Aid's got a great role to play, but in the end, the countries that will succeed will not be those that merely get the most aid, but those with the most effective forms of government. In the Middle East, we continue to see, with the ongoing conflict in Yemen, with the difficulties in Syria, the still growing threat of Iran, that the Middle East remains highly, highly volatile. Here again, we have been working for programs of modernization in the Middle East, but also working specifically on the peace process, but through the lens of the Israeli-Arab relationship. We want to see a two-state solution, a secure state of Israel, a viable state of Palestine, but it's been the work of this institute and its guiding principle that in the end, this is only going to come about if there isn't just peace and negotiation between Israelis and Palestinians, but between Israel and the Arab world as a whole. So on all of these issues, I think the Institute is ahead of the curve. It's putting out new thinking, new ways of tackling issues. I hope that the types of things we're suggesting have a real purchase and capability to influence those who are presently in office. And I have to say, for all of the difficulties and challenges, from our perspective, what we see from the Institute, yes, we're dealing with many, many difficult challenges, but we should still retain a sense of optimism. Despite everything, as we see from the work we do in Africa, the world is actually improving. There is progress. And where there's the right combination of leadership and ideas, that progress can come even quicker. So we are very much motivated to redouble our efforts for 2019. And I feel the Institute itself now, today, has come on a huge amount in the last year. We look forward to the next year with a lot of excitement, a lot of hope, and a massive amount of motivation.